In just a few short weeks, we are going to be moving away from New York City to my parents' house in Nashville. But Tennessee is just a pit stop because the real adventure begins in August. Okay, so let me back up first for just a little bit. 2 years ago, we moved from Texas to New York City just to kind of have a brand new adventure. We have absolutely loved living in New York City, and I'm actually really sad to be leaving New York, but it's because we have something really fun and exciting planned. And it does feel like at least this chapter of our life in New York City is coming to a close. That doesn't mean that we might not be back here in the future, but for now, it's time to move on. And that next thing is, drum roll, buying a van and driving around the continental US. That's right, we are buying a Class B RV, aka a van, and our goal is to travel around the US, go to all 50 states, and visit a yarn store in each of those states. Today, my task is to clear the shelf behind me, which has yarn and all kinds of knitting accessories and things. I need to decide if it fits into one of 3 categories here. The first of which is going in the van. That's not going to be a lot of things, so I'm hoping everything that I'm bringing can fit inside this large 5-skein float tote. That is my barrier parameter for things that I'm going to keep. Another category I have is donate, and everything that I'm donating today I'm going to be putting into a backpack because this Saturday is Worldwide Knit in Public Day, and I'm going to take everything that I'm donating to that group that I'm meeting up with and see if any of the other knitters and crocheters want to take something off of my hands. The last thing is storage. Anything that is important enough for me to keep that I think that I will want to go back to after van life, or maybe throughout, because we are going to be keeping some things in my parents' house in Nashville, Tennessee, is going to go into this tub. I'm really hoping I can get everything to fit within these 3 containers today, so wish me luck. Let's get started, and I'm going to be answering some questions that you asked about our move along the way. I'm going to start out really easy with something that I've already decided on because right now this feels like a bit of an overwhelming task, but I think we can do it. Let's start with books. So last week on the podcast, somebody asked me to share all of the books that I have in my library. So if you want to see details on all of these books, you can go there. But it also kind of led me to already making decisions about which books I'm keeping and which ones I am not keeping. So the 2 books that I decided that I'm going to keep are these 2 huge Vogue knitting books. I'm not going to be bringing them with me in the van. They would take up a lot of space, and I just don't find myself referring to books very often, which is why I'm going to be letting go of the others. Hopefully I'll have some people that will take them off my hands this weekend. So these are going to be the first thing going into the tub, nice and flat here on the bottom so that they don't get messed up. I do think I'll be using them in the future, and if not, I'll have my books pared down enough that it will be easy to let the last ones go. Several people asked if we will be keeping our apartment here in New York City and what are we going to do with all of our stuff. So our apartment is rented. We are renters, so we're not going to be keeping our apartment here in New York City. As you can imagine, it is very expensive and it wouldn't make much sense to keep it. But we are going to have my parents' house in Nashville, Tennessee as a home base. So we'll be able to keep some things there. We're actually going to bring our living room furniture, so our big couch that we love, and we're going to replace some of the furniture that my parents have in their bonus room and also move our desks into there. So we'll kind of have a space set up, but also anybody else can use it. I have 3 younger siblings that are always visiting home and needing a space to kind of set up a work from home space or just hang out. So that furniture will be moving there. Pretty much all of our other furniture we are going to be selling over the next few weeks. We will keep a small storage unit in Tennessee with some of the items that we just don't want to let go. This tub of knitting things will probably sit underneath my desk at my parents' house, so it will be within easy reach. But that being said, I'm not keeping anything that I don't feel like is super important and something that I will want to have very like within the next year or so. Let's do blocking materials next. So blocking in the van, I have thought about this a lot. I've thought through so many different scenarios, and I don't see myself blocking any finished items in the van. So these squares are not something that I'm going to bring with me. They would obviously take up a lot of space. So these are going to go into the tub, but I also have this kind of blocking kit that I keep in my closet. It is two big towels. I like using black towels because if any dye comes off, it's not going to ruin them. And then I have one small tub and one larger tub. I use them both pretty equally. And then I have a little like silicone soap dish with some of Citri & Co.'s soap in here. So again, I don't see myself wanting to carry around all of these things, but I do want to have it, keep it for later on. So my plan is I have one very tiny bar of soap. This one is from, I always forget the name. I'll put it on the bottom. So I'm thinking I'll grab maybe even just a Ziploc bag or a small plastic container and bring this little tiny thing of soap with me so that I can wash any hand knits that I bring and also wash anything that I finish. And since I'm not going to be blocking in the van, there's not enough space, we also will have very limited water. I think, this is my plan right now, anytime we are staying at a hotel or maybe a friend's house where the water is not limited, I could soak an item in the sink. I could use the towels that are provided at the hotel. I will then block my stuff. So I'll kind of have to wait a little bit, and then I can block maybe on like a hotel bed or some towels or something like that. It really won't be that big of a deal, honestly. I think it will be fine. And if I'm swatching something, I'll probably just like run into a gas station bathroom and wet the swatch, right? So this is gonna be the only thing. The first item, I think, going into our float tote bag. Actually, let me grab a plastic bag for this. Okay, she's ready. She's going in. First item in the van bag, and all of this stuff will be going into the tub. Next, I see my yarn. So a lot of you may know that I have been destashing for the past year and a half. Last year in 2022, I worked on getting my stash, which was intact skeins, all down to 0. I almost did it. I had just this one left. You can see the whole series. I'll link it down below. But since then I've gained a few more skeins, still not a lot. I'm feeling really proud of this, but none of these are gonna come with me in the van. I don't know yet how I will really manage projects along the way. I think I will probably kind of make a decision in August when we're leaving and take with me anything that I'm currently working on and then maybe shop along the way. I honestly don't really know yet, but with limited space, it doesn't really make sense for me to store yarn in the van. So all of these things for now are going to be going into the tub there. I do have some scrap yarns in the closet, so this is not the only space that I have items, but it's pretty close. We'll get to that closet in just a second. So somebody asked, what would be the first project that I'm planning to knit in the van? And I don't really know yet. I guess whatever my current whip is, but I did see some really cool ideas from other people who have traveled a lot or even done van life, where they've picked up yarn throughout their travels and made a project from that yarn. I think that would be really special. I'm very much into blankets right now, so my first thought is maybe I will start a blanket, and as we travel to different yarn stores, maybe pick up special skeins, locally dyed yarn, and work them into my blanket. I don't think I'll be able to use up, let's just say we go to one yarn store in 50 different states. I'm guessing we're gonna go to more than one yarn store in each state, but if it's 50 yarns, I don't think I'm going to be able to make one project that uses up 50 full skeins of yarn, but maybe I'll just use a little bit of it and then I can donate the rest of it. I can give it away to somebody at my next stop or something like that. Actually, that sounds really fun. Then I can have a special project, but also continue to work on the things that I am really enjoying, like at the current moment, because I still want to stay, you know, working on things, new patterns that are coming out and stuff like that. Okay, next up here is my lovely Notions pouch. This is from 5 to 6 Handmade, and it's amazing. It has all of my needles in it, and it's going to have all of my Notions once I get them in here. This was totally intended for our upcoming plans for van life. I knew this was coming. I knew I needed to get my tools pared down. So this is definitely coming with me in the van, and it's also super compact and going to be very easy for me to keep every single needle, hook, notion that I need right on hand. While I'm at it, I just grabbed these two things from my closet space. This is my other set of interchangeable needles, the ChiaoGoo Fortes, and I have a ChiaoGoo Tunisian crochet hook set. I have these kind of as backups / I can't decide if I'm going to use them or not use them. I'm hanging on to them for right now, but they don't need to come in the van, so they are going to go into the storage tub. We are clearing through stuff pretty quickly. I've already got 2 shelves finished, and then these 2 behind me are also going to be pretty easy. So this right here is my current blanket whip. It's got my homespun house yarn in it, and then it also has all the leftovers from my Pokemon Advent blanket that I just finished, and I'm planning to make a hat out of that. So while it's looking very bulky right now, I should actually be done using a lot of this yarn by the time we actually start van life in August. So this is kind of going to be maybe set outside of the parameters that I've set here because it is a current project. That being said, this far drawer over here does have some bowls in it. I need to go through this. These are also current whips. I do need to do a little organizing with them, but basically all of this stuff, it doesn't really fit into the what's going in the van kind of thing. So I'm gonna set these ones aside and I will look at them later and try to get these projects finished up. Somebody asked, can we see the van? You are definitely going to get to see the van. We just don't have it yet. Right now we're looking at picking it up somewhere in early July. But I will tell you right now, it is a Class B RV, which means it's about the size of a Sprinter van if you think like big Amazon delivery trucks, or I don't know how else to describe it. It's a big size car, but it's a pretty small size living space. That being said, it's designed really, really well. There is a full bathroom. You can shower in the van. There is a kitchen with 1 burner for the stove. There's a microwave and actually a quite large refrigerator. There is a space in the back of the van that has a really great like bench seat and 2 other seats to sit in with a small little TV. So it's kind of a lounge area. You can put a table in there. Then at night, it all flattens out and makes a bed somewhere in between a queen and a king size. Do we have a route planned? We definitely have a route planned. So the big ultimate goal is to visit all 50 states and 1 yarn store in each of those 50 states. And of course, we want to film tours at each of these yarn stores that we go to and post them on the Nitty Natty channel. So I'm really excited for that. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to be going to events and yarn crawls and all kinds of things. Kent, my husband, is such a great planner. He has been planning out our route. So the rest of 2023 is planned in a little more detail than 2024 is planned. Our plan right now is to continue traveling through the end of next year, through the end of 2024, and then we'll see what happens from there. We don't really know yet, but we do think we can get to all 50 states, including Alaska and Hawaii in that time, though we won't be driving our van to those places. Our first stop when we start in August is going to be Indiana. There is a yarn crawl going on there. Then we're going to make our way up to Chicago and start on Route 66, which is going to take us the better part of several months. We're also planning to go to Rhinebeck this year in October, and then we're planning to kind of end out the year by spending a lot of time with my family in Tennessee and Kent's family in Florida. Are you going to be reviving your other channel for van life content? So I used to have another YouTube channel. It's actually still out there, all about cleaning and organization. It's called This and Nat. But when I started getting more into nitty natty things, it was just too much. And then we moved to New York and it didn't really make sense. Like I could only clean so much in a 1-bedroom apartment. So that channel just kind of fell by the wayside. But now I have Kent on my team, and we're both really excited about this new van life adventure. So we are going to be starting a new YouTube channel and another Instagram so that we can keep van life stuff separate from knitting things. Of course, you'll still see a little bit of that here on the Nitty Natty channel. I am hoping that in the podcast every single week, I can include some of our adventures, let you know like, hey, I'm coming from this state today. And then the next podcast, I'm in another state. I think that will be really, really cool. But we are gonna have a separate channel if you're interested in things that are more van life related. All right, let's clear out this last cube here on the top. This is my label printer, so anytime I'm mailing out a prize or giving something away, I use this. I use it a ton. I am going to be keeping it and taking it and setting it up on my desk in my parents' house, but I don't think that it like belongs in the yarn storage box, really. It's gonna probably go in another box, so I'm just gonna leave it sitting here for now until I can move the shelf and get it unplugged and everything like that. This, oh, we are tangled here. This is all of my pins for when I block things. I honestly don't use it a ton, but I knit this, I don't even know what the pattern is, so long ago. It's so dusty. It's really just a pin cushion that is kind of made to look like flowers, and then I have all my pins stuck in here. So I'm gonna toss that into the storage box. It's gonna go with me. This is a really cute sheep that Kent got for me in Mexico. Speaking of, I have a few more sheep. This one was gifted to me by my friend Rebecca. This one I bought for myself, I think in Oregon. So all of these are really cute and they all are special. So they're going in the box and I'll use them to decorate in a future place. You might be wondering at this point, how am I going to wind yarn while traveling? Because this whole setup, it's not going to be coming with me. I have from Fiber Artist Supply Co. a really awesome Swift that looks like this. It also requires some dowels. I mean, I use it very often. These are like extra things that I have with it. I'm trying to keep everything that is like together. And then I also have my beautiful ball winder that I love so much. I'm not getting rid of it, of course, but like this is not gonna fit. This is not gonna come with me in the van. I probably use this maybe once or twice a month. It just doesn't make sense to bring something so bulky that is not gonna be used a lot. So what am I gonna do? My plan is that when I purchase yarn, I'm going to just ask for it to be wound. Most of the time, I think when I'm getting yarn, I'm planning to go ahead and start that project right away. I'm gonna try not to accumulate too many things in the van. So if I'm getting something, it needs to be getting used right away. If I do get yarn that is not purchased in yarn stores, I'm kind of hoping that maybe I can just nicely ask some of the yarn stores that I'm going to be touring at if they wouldn't mind if I can use their winder. Most of the time this probably wouldn't be okay for customers to use ball winders, but I'm hoping because I have a lot of experience working in knitting stores that maybe they will allow me to do it. I've also heard that some stores will allow you to maybe pay a small fee, like $3 to $5 per skein, and let them wind something that is not from the store. So I think that will work out. The worst case scenario is that I will be hand winding some things. And honestly, that's not that big of a deal. It's a little more time consuming if you've ever wound a full 100-gram skein of something like this. It does take a little while, but it is possible. So I'm really not worried about it. This will sit in the storage box in my parents' house in Tennessee. I'm kind of thinking now I might need a bigger tub. Before we get into these last 3 boxes here, because these are going to be the most difficult as they are the most random. Actually, this one is project bag, so that one's going to be hard. But let's answer a couple of other questions. So what inspired us to do this, and who needed more convincing, me or Kent? So it's hard for me to remember exactly when this seed was planted to do this trip around the US. I think for a long time we've been having a desire to travel. Even when we left Texas, we wanted to do something else. We wanted to do something different and interesting and kind of challenge ourselves, get ourselves out of our comfort zone and try something totally different. So we feel like we've accomplished that, and it's kind of like well, what's next? And we've been watching a lot of van life channels. We really love Kara and Nate and Eamon and Beck and Craig and Amy from King in It. And so I've been loving their travel stuff. They travel not just in vans, but also fly internationally and all of this stuff. So I think just a combination of having that desire to go and to travel and to see, we really want to do the whole thing where we see all these different yarn stores, combined with us seeing other people do it on YouTube, honestly kind of put everything together for us and made us make that decision earlier this year. It's funny because honestly, that's the same reason we moved to New York. We started out with thinking like, this is like a joke, right? Like we could never move to New York. I've never even been there before. And then YouTube, we saw it was possible through video. And I think it's so cool because it just makes, like this platform just makes anything seem within reach, whether you want to just experience it from the comfort of your home or see what kind of lifestyles are out there. And I think it's really, really cool. So I don't know if it was myself or Kent that introduced the idea of actually traveling. It was probably Kent. He was also the one who introduced New York, and I needed a little more convincing with that because I was like, no way, I'm not moving out of a like 3-story house into a 2-bedroom apartment. Well, that's before we knew that 2-bedroom apartments were insanely expensive. So we worked our way down to the 1-bedroom apartment. So yeah, I think it was like travel internationally. And then we were thinking, well, we want to take Toaster with us. So maybe we'll travel within the US, but then we would have to leave Toaster behind every time we flew. What if we got a van? So it kind of just developed from there. I don't really know. It's been something we've been talking about for so long. And then finally, just about a month ago, we decided to start making actual plans. We let go of the lease on our apartment. We told our family, we started looking at vans. And then now we're at this point, just a couple weeks away from actually making it come true. Is Toaster coming with us? Of course we're bringing him. We literally couldn't live without him. Someone also asked, how are we preparing Toaster for the adventure? So Toaster has been slowly getting more used to traveling by car over the last couple years. He's done a lot of big long trips with us because when we moved up here, we had a big long trip from Texas to New York. And then during the holidays for the past 2 years, we've rented a car and we've driven down, is that the right word? Driven down to Florida. We drove to Tennessee and back again several times. So he's getting more and more used to being in the car. And recently we've been taking a lot of trips to visit our friends in New Jersey. And for those shorter car rides, so like an hour, hour and a half, he's been managing them really well without any kind of medicine. He's also never been one, even though he's not liking the car, he doesn't panic. He's not like running around the car or anything. He's more just kind of, breathing a little harder, a little bit stressed, and needs some extra support. So we feel like he is already making the kind of transition to being okay in the car. We're also not planning to have too many times where we're traveling for more than a couple of hours. There will definitely be some stretches where we'll have big, long drives, and we'll keep some medicine on hand for Toaster in case he needs anything. Now, when we get the van, we're going to have it parked in my parents' driveway for at least a month. So we're hoping we can start to warm him up to getting used to being in the van. I'm sure we'll be like laying out a blanket for him, trying to find him like his spot in the van. We're gonna keep a dog bed that can be really close to us in between our seats, and we're gonna find some kind of way to keep him safe while in the car. He's already got a harness that has a seat belt buckle, but we need somewhere to safely fasten it in our van, and we're going to find that because we want Toaster to be really, really safe. We're also gonna treat train him in the van, so the first couple of times he gets in the van, we'll probably be with it parked, with the air conditioning on because it is summer, and him just like sitting there with us eating treats in the van. And then we'll probably do some short drives, getting him more and more used to it. My hope is that eventually Toaster will be so comfortable in the van that he's able to get up and move about if he wants to while we're driving. My guess is he'll probably just lay on his bed when we're driving. And then when we're parked, I think he's gonna feel like it's totally his home. All right, let's do one of these boxes. I think I'll start with this far one. This one has kind of the most random things in it. I don't know if I'll be able to make really great decisions on this right now. This one may be something that I go through initially and then do it one more time before we actually move, because it's kind of hard on the random things, right? I like to start easy. That's why we started with the top shelves. So I have a bunch of needlepoint stuff. I haven't needlepointed in many, many years. I actually really want to make Toaster another collar right now, especially since we are going to need to keep a collar on him. At least I want to keep a collar on him, so we always have something to keep him safe, something to track him with, since we're going to be in lots of different places. So I'm probably going to go through this and just pick out what I need to make his collar and not hold on to, I think I have like all of this thread. I'm not going to hang on to all of this thread. I'm just going to pick out the things that I need, the canvas that I need. I have a needle, I have a frame, and whatever colors I need, and the rest I'm going to be letting go. I've got a couple of skeins here of just DK weight acrylic yarn that I've used when I've been teaching private lessons, but I'm not going to be doing that right now. I'm not going to be teaching private lessons. I haven't done that in a while. I'm also not really planning on recording many tutorials that are not either related to my patterns or related to my projects. So these are things that I don't think I need right now. So I'm going to be putting these into the backpack and taking it to my event this weekend. It's not my event, it's Worldwide Knit in Public Day, but taking it to the event this weekend and seeing if anyone can use those skeins. Okay, this is interesting. I have almost every single size of the, I think it's Clover. Yes, of the Clover pom-pom makers. And there was a time where I was making a lot of hats and a lot of pom-poms, and these are the best thing ever. Like, I never want to make a pom-pom without these. My mom, I remember one year for Christmas, basically bought up all of the sizes for me and gave them all to me. So now I have everything I need. I even wrote in Sharpie, you can see that, what the sizes are so I could take them all out of the packaging. So for me, this is kind of something I don't use often, but it's a tool that I don't want to buy again. So this is going to be going into the storage bin. I have a whole bunch of stuff for beading. I haven't done any beaded knitting or crochet in a while. So I'm going to look through this and see if there's anything really essential. I'll probably just keep maybe the like feeder tool for the beads. I don't really need to hang on to any beads or anything else right now because I haven't worked any beaded project in a long time and space is limited. Yes, here are more things for the lesson, so I really don't need to hold on to any of that. Found my needlepoint project that I was working on a long time ago. I was trying to make a University of Georgia belt for my dad. Sorry, Dad. Never did finish that. Don't think I need to hold on to that. All right, this is fun. I have a whole container of bells, safety eyes, and the fasteners that I like to use on the float tote. I think I will hang on to this for now, so long as it fits in the storage. It's just nice to have because whenever you need a safety eye or a bell, you can't just get two, you get 100 of them. So it's kind of nice to have these on hand. I haven't needed them in a little while, but I do need them on occasion, and this really is a nice way to keep them stored. In kind of a similar vein, I've got a sewing kit. My mom actually put this together for me. I don't use it very often. I'm definitely not taking it with me in the van, but I do think it's something that will be nice to keep. And then I also have organized in the same way. I love these tackle boxes for organizing things. If you don't mind like this sound, which I can't stand, so I never want to take something like this in a bag that I'm traveling with, but for storage at home, it's really great. You can organize stitch markers, whatever you want to do. Go to Walmart, they always have a ton. This is all stuff to make stitch markers. I really don't enjoy making stitch markers. I like to be able to use the tools that I have. Actually, I have that right here. In this bag, I have the 2 different pliers that I need, plus a few of the different jump rings and stuff to convert any of the stitch markers that I get into an earring back. So I think what I'm gonna do here is just put only what I need in this. It will go in the storage box and I can let go of this bulkier thing. Last thing in here is I have some scissors, those like crazy serrated ones. Man, are they supposed to be like that? You know what? I think I might have messed these up somehow, or maybe just because they're sitting here in this drawer. I really don't need these. I don't even remember why I got them. I legit don't have any fabric. These don't even close. What is happening with these? I think these need to maybe go to somebody that actually knows how to sew. Maybe I'll ask my mom, or maybe I'll give them away on Saturday. That's another empty box, so how about we do another question? I am planning to give away these with this shelf. Not give away, I'm gonna be selling it on either Nextdoor or Facebook Marketplace, so hopefully by the time you watch this video, somebody's already claimed it and it is gone. I know that in the future, if I want to get another IKEA shelf, I will be able to get something similar, so it's not worth storing this for me or hanging on to any of these boxes. They do change their like interior accessories all of the time, but it's okay with me. These actually do cause quite a bit of dust and stuff, even though they look really beautiful. I'll find something when the time comes. Okay, so somebody asked, do we have any must-dos while traveling? So I think that the traveling part is the heart of it. We want to go to as many yarn stores as possible. That's the main goal. But whenever I'm traveling, and I'm thinking this is going to be the same when we're traveling in the van, I always want to try local things. So we love going to local restaurants and trying local cuisine. If the city or the state is known for something, that's what we're getting, that's what we're trying, unless we just know for sure that we don't like it. It's always so fun to try things in different places and get an understanding of that culture around that city. I especially love going to local coffee shops. I imagine we'll be doing that a lot, working out of local coffee shops and trying local coffee. I have this vision of, because I'm a coffee drinker daily, like in the morning. Kent doesn't really drink coffee except to maybe get an occasional latte or something like that. But I love to drink coffee every single day. So I kind of have this plan of whenever I go to a local coffee shop and I am running low on coffee, buying a bag of local coffee there at the shop, using that up, and then when I am empty again, getting some more coffee at a local yarn shop, or local coffee shop. Local yarn shop is just so stuck in my head. The other thing that we have planned is visiting national parks. We both really enjoy that, getting to see animals, getting to just see the massive expanse of the United States is really, really incredible and kind of awe-inspiring. So I would say those are quite a few of the things on our list right now. I'm dreading doing my project bags here, so I'm gonna do this one next. This one doesn't really have anything super exciting in it. Honestly, I try to keep anything that I'm giving away or any prizes, plus my mailing materials and the scale I use when I mail stuff. So you know what? There's actually really nothing in here to really look at, so I'm just gonna set this one aside and I will do it on my own time, but none of this is coming with me to Tennessee. Okay, last one. The project bags. Man, project bags always take up so much space, but it's so fun to have different kinds of project bags because you never know maybe what your mood is going to lead you to, or maybe you have a certain size project, obviously, or maybe you're going into a certain situation where you need a specific type of handle, or I like to use this one a lot from Black Pearl Magic because it's vinyl, and if I'm going somewhere like the beach or the pool, it's waterproof. I just don't even know how to decide on these things. I'm just gonna dump them out and I will make some decisions from here. Okay, I've landed on a smaller assortment of things, though I still have quite a lot. All of these are gonna go into the storage bin for right now, and then when I actually pack to leave, any current project bags that I am using will come with, and I will just use those until I return back to Nashville and maybe switch things out. So I landed on one of each size of my float totes because they're very helpful, but they're very bulky, so they will probably stay home in Tennessee. I squished a ton of bags into here that are various sizes, and then I squished all of my holiday bags, which is this Halloween one. The rest are Christmas inside. I will be going home before Christmas to receive my Advents and everything like that, all in there. So all of that is going to be going into the tub. I just have one more space here in my closet to clear out, and then we are good. I mean, a handful of things I still need to go through in a little more detail, but this feels really, really good to go ahead and get this started a few weeks in advance of us moving, and then I don't even have to worry or think about my knitting and tools any longer. Okay, so one of you asked, will I still be podcasting while we travel? I am definitely going to continue podcasting. The plan right now is to continue my weekly Thursday podcast. If that ever changes, I will of course let you know, but I think it's going to be really fun to kind of share a little bit of our adventures every Thursday in the podcast. So the segments in the podcast may change slightly just so I can include more of what is going on currently in our life. Will I do any meet and greets at yarn shops? The answer is probably. I don't know exactly how that is going to go just yet. I am hoping to attend as many knit nights at different yarn stores that we're traveling to as I can. So once I'm able to ask the store if it is okay if I share publicly that I'm going to be there, just because I don't want to create if there are a lot of people, like local people in the area, I want there to be able to be enough space at the yarn store and for the yarn store to feel comfortable with maybe a few extra people coming in that night, then I will share. So the best thing you can do is just follow along on Instagram with where I'm traveling to, and if I'm able to do some kind of meet and greet or just meet you at a knit night, I will be posting it in my stories. And the last question that I got is, will I buy yarn as I travel? I guess I kind of answered that a little bit earlier, but I don't have a specific plan yet. I don't want to store anything in the van. There's just not going to be enough space for that. Once I get all of my current projects in there, I think that's going to take up the majority of the space we have allotted for knitting things. So I probably won't be buying a ton of yarn, but it really would be fun to start a project that is a memory project. So the answer is probably yes, but I won't be buying enough to store or anything. I'm hoping to just buy stuff and use it up along the way. All right, let's open up this closet here behind me. I have been working so hard. In case this is the first video you're seeing of me showing the yarn and the tools and things that I have been working so hard for the last 4 years to take what used to be an IKEA shelf twice the size of the one I currently have, that was maybe a third of it was yarn or a quarter of it was yarn, and working to use things up and get rid of things over the years, and really paying attention to what I'm actually using and what I'm not. So just to encourage you, there's a lot of videos that show the process, the progress in the process that I've been using over the last few years. Okay, in here I do have a few more things. In this drawer, I have some labels for sweaters. I'm actually going to keep that. I need to put that on some of my sweaters. Maybe I'll put it with the sewing stuff. What is this? Oh, this just goes with the, snap this in here. Okay, I have a bunch of yarn cozies. I love these yarn cozies and I use them all of the time, but I don't think I need to bring all of them with me on my trip. I think I will probably bring with me the set that I just finished, which is 2 50-gram minis and 1 20-gram. I think that will be really handy to have. Hold on, I put my bag over here. Let me get to it. There's not a lot in here so far. Projects are going to take up a lot of that space. And then I think I'll take a few of the 100-gram. Those are the ones I tend to use a whole lot. Maybe I'll bring these ones. I don't know. This also could change, because if I leave with a handful of projects that have cozies on them, I'll just reuse those cozies over and over. And then all of these ones that are left in here, I am definitely going to be keeping. Maybe I will put them into one of the project bags that I'm going to be keeping, just to keep it a little more organized. Sounds like a good idea, right? Throw those into there. Now it's organized, or at least contained. And I'll be keeping those, and probably like the project bags, after using them for a few months, I'll be kind of tired of the current ones, so I'll swap them out whenever I'm back in Nashville. Next up, here is a very random drawer again. I have a bunch of, what's that? I think those are some stickers. I have a bunch of sock blockers. I am not going to bring any sock blockers with me in the van. I don't really think that I am going to need them. Now that I'm thinking about that, it would be nice to have maybe one pair, not just to block socks, but to show on the podcast. Let's see, I'm kind of seeing, these are my lightest pair, but they're also probably my most fragile. So tentatively, no, I'm not going to bring any. I really don't need them. You really don't need sock blockers to like wash your socks, but they are nice for the podcast. We're just going to have to deal without having our socks on, sock blockers for the podcast, but I am going to store them and keep them in my parents' house. Okay, I have a bunch of random stuff. I have a lot of stickers and charms that I haven't used, so I'm just gonna throw those into my giveaway bin and start giving those away. I also have some really cute pom-poms, but I haven't used pom-poms in a long time, so I'll take those this weekend with me. And then another thing that's very dusty that I haven't used in a long time are these knit blockers. They're actually really great. I just don't find myself going for them. I just don't really block a lot of stuff that requires pins like this. You know what? Actually, I think I'm going to hang on to these for a little bit longer because my plan, the thing about these is they're too thick or thin or something to fit into the blocking board that I have. But I actually think in the future, when we have a home again, I'm actually going to get another set of the puzzle piece blocking mats and have a ton of those instead of having a big blocking board. So I'll hang on to these for now. Everything else that's left in here is literally just random stickers. There's also some random jewelry that I haven't worn in a long time. Don't know why that is in there, but I'm gonna get rid of all of that. Last thing here is my scrap drawer and also any yarns that are not full skeins that maybe I'm kind of saving to do something with. So I have all of this yarn from Fangirl Fibers. I'm planning to make my twisted tee shorts over again and then use the rest of it for a twisted tee top. So it's kind of a future project there. And then these are all sport yarns. They're not sport weight, but they're yarns that are in sport colors that we love. So we've got the Dallas Stars, we've got the Oregon Ducks, we've got SMU for Kent. So I'm kind of hanging on to these. Maybe I'll make Kent some cozies or something in the future. I've also been hanging on to the yarn that I use to make our Christmas stockings. And then I've been hanging on to this. I don't know if I'm going to use that yet. Other than that, this is all the scraps that I have left. I'm really proud of myself for this. I feel like I've done such a good job. This one's a magic knot ball, so really it's just this. So I'll probably put these all into a Ziploc baggie. I'm going to hang on to all of these yarns for now and keep them in Tennessee, but they're not going to come with me in the van. Let's do a little recap here because I ended up putting a lot less in my van bucket than I thought that I was going to. So here's everything that I'm planning to take in the van right now. Keeping in mind, there are 0 projects in here, and that's what's going to take up the majority of the space. Essentially, I have all of my needles, hooks, tools, and notions in this lovely case. It's the best thing ever. You're gonna stand up? Okay, perfect. And then I have a handful of cozies. And then lastly, I have my soap to block things with. Other than projects, I really do think that that's all that I'm gonna be needing. If you think that I'm missing something, let me know. I do have my scraps out right now because I'm planning to do a scrap-free 2023 6-month update here before I leave New York, and then those scraps will be going into the bucket. Speaking of, I may be overflowing this bucket just a little bit. I think if I didn't have the Swift, I might actually be able to make this size work, but I do want it all to be contained. So we are bringing out the larger container bin. I think I can get everything in here with the lid shut. And I also want it to be functional for me so that I can reach in and grab things that I need while I'm at my parents' house. So let's make the move. It all fits in the bigger tub with a little room to spare. So once I figure out my projects, which are the only thing now left out here, hopefully I can fit some into this tub for the move. I've also got everything ready for the van. Actually, that may go in the top of the tub. And I've got a backpack full of stuff ready to give away this weekend. I am literally sweating. This has been a job well done, if I do say so myself. And hopefully it was fun for you to see some of the things that I am going to be bringing with me and some of the things that I am saying are going to be hopefully not as essential and easy enough to be left at home. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for all of your lovely and encouraging words about our next adventure. I am so excited. If you have any more questions for us, just leave them down below, and I'll do my best to answer as many as I can. And of course, keep following along because we're going to be sharing more as we go pick up our van and of course, as we start our new journey. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!